Hi, everybody. June 5th. That's a Wednesday, June 5th. Next live Jimmy Dore show in Hermosa Beach, California. June 5th in Hermosa Beach, California. And May 3rd in Burbank, California. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all of our live shows. Now, we've been talking about Russiagate at this show. We've been debunking it. We've been bringing on experts from the NSA, top code breakers, people, ex-CIA agents. We've been bringing on all kinds of people and journalists like Aaron Mate and Max Blumenthal, and we've been debunking this Russiagate thing. So, again, the way to oppose Trump isn't to make up a conspiracy that he's a Manchurian candidate. The way to oppose Trump is to actually first fix the Democratic Party so it could actually oppose Donald Trump and the Republicans on policy. Right now, they don't. Right now, they're all both on board for the war machine. They're both against Medicare for all. They're both against living wage. They're both against the workers and progressives, okay? So guess what is happening? So we've always asked for evidence. That's all people are saying, Jimmy, what are you going to do when Mueller finds evidence? I go, I'm going to report it. If Mueller had found evidence of a criminal conspiracy between the Trump organization and Russia, I would report it. But what we've been doing is reporting that what this actually is a conspiracy theory concocted by the Hillary Clinton campaign and then pushed by the media and the intelligence community. Special counsel Robert Mueller is not recommending any further indictments, according to a senior Department of Justice official. And that's from CBS News. It's also confirmed by the Justice Department correspondent at CNN. She says Special Counsel Mueller is not recommending any further indictments, I'm told. So CNN had made a lot of money pushing this. And so if they're admitting it, then that you can best believe that's true. And what Glenn Greenwald says is the Mueller investigation is complete, and this is a simple fact that will never go away. Not one single American was ever charged, indicted, or convicted for conspiring with Russia to influence the 2016 election. Not even a low-level volunteer. The number is 0. Compare what cable hosts, let's leave them unnamed, Rachel Maddow, and everyone. She's just the worst, but they're all doing it.
That's why he left them unnamed. He's like, I don't have enough room in the thread for this.
That's right.
I'll have to have like 45 tweets.
So compare what cable hosts and Democratic operatives spent 2 years claiming this would lead to: the imprisonment of Donald Trump Jr., Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and even Trump on conspiracy with Russia charges, to what it actually produced. A huge reckoning is owed. It's not coming. They're already moving the goalposts. We showed you that. They're really doing double duty today. If you go on Twitter, you'll see people who've been screaming Russiagate and Trump is a puppet of Putin for 2.5 years, screaming, now backpedaling, saying that they didn't say that.
Yeah, a huge media reckoning has been owed for 40 years.
Yeah, that's right.
This is just another, for instance.
We've been owed this since the first Gulf War, since Vietnam. How about that? We've been owed a reckoning. It's never coming. They fired Phil Donahue. They never reckoned about that. And then he says, don't even try to pretend the point of the Mueller investigation from the start was to obtain prosecutions of Americans guilty of conspiring with Russia to influence the outcome of the election, or that Putin controlled Trump through blackmail. Nobody will believe your denials. He says, so don't even try to pretend that the point of this investigation wasn't what you guys have been saying it was. But that they're already trying to do that here, because he points to the New York Times from May 2017, and it says Robert Mueller III, a former FBI director, as special counsel on Wednesday to oversee the investigation into ties between President Trump's campaign and Russian officials. That's what it's about. That's right from the New York Times. That's what this was about. Nothing else. Not financial crimes, or hey, you got Manafort. He didn't declare he was a foreign agent. Hey, you got Manafort doing that. Hey, you caught Flynn lying about his deal with Turkey. Hey, you got Flynn lying about it, lying at the behest of Israel. Nothing to do with this. None of it has to do with this. Are we now ready to rid ourselves of the thrilling espionage fantasy that Trump is controlled by Putin and the Kremlin using blackmail? There's no way Robert Mueller would have gone 18 months without telling anyone about this if it were true, right? How could this be justified? Perhaps now we can focus on the actual consequential actions the Trump administration is taking and finally move past the deranged conspiracy theories that have drowned the United States discourse for 2.5 years. A side benefit will be not ratcheting up tension between two nuclear-armed powers. Giving up these exciting conspiracy theories about international blackmail and convening panels to decipher all the genius hidden maneuvers of Mueller will be bad for cable ratings, book sales, and Patreon accounts of online charlatans, but it'll be very healthy in all other ways. The desperate attempts to salvage something from this debacle by the Mueller dead-enders are just sad. Yes, the public hasn't read the Mueller report, but we know he ended his investigation without indicting a single American for conspiring with Russia to influence the election. Trump Jr. testified for hours and hours before Congress, including about the Trump Tower meeting. If he lied there or to Mueller, why didn't Mueller indict him for perjury, lying to Congress, or obstruction? Same question for Kushner. Stop embarrassing yourselves. If Mueller found evidence that Putin controls Trump and forces him to act against U.S. interests and in favor of Russia, not just with a PP tape, but with financial blackmail, what could possibly justify keeping that a secret through the end of the investigation? It's ludicrous, because there's people who have been pushing that scenario too, that, he's under the thumb of Putin because of financial blackmail, that he money laundered, what have you. And that's what puts him. Trump opened up 8 businesses in Saudi Arabia during the campaign. He's just as indebted to Saudi Arabia. I mean, he has shopping malls in Turkey. I mean, the guy's dirty. He's got financial interests everywhere. So what a conspiracy theory is, you started a conclusion, Trump is under the thumb of Russia and Putin, and then you cherry pick the facts so you can, all the evidence that says he's under the thumb of Russia because of financial crimes, almost all that evidence could be used the other way. For instance, they say that a lot of Russian oligarchs are parking their money in Trump properties in Florida. That's a signal. Except Putin doesn't want Russian oligarchs parking their money outside the country in the first place. So that's why that doesn't. So you see, you go, look. But then if you actually look at the evidence, it could be used the exact opposite to debunk your conspiracy theory. And they just ignore it, and they just keep going. And they're still going today with that. U.S. discourse has been drowned for 2.5 years with conspiratorial, unhinged, but highly inflammatory and unhinged idiocy, playing games with two nuclear-armed powers because of anger over the 2016 election. Now, I've been accused of having anger issues at this show, but I didn't let my anger issues and my anger for Donald Trump rob me of my critical thinking skills and turn my show into a shit show of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of other people who did. Mueller ended his work. It's time to stop. Mueller ended his work. We see the public indictments. And then he says, and to be clear, I've urged a full investigation into these Trump-Russia claims from the start, from before Mueller was appointed, with full disclosure. I still favor that, precisely to end the reckless speculation to which we've been endlessly subjected. And Michael Tracy says, to all the nervous media people getting ready to insist that Mueller's apparent failure to uncover a Trump-Russia conspiracy is no big deal, you are all liars. You are frauds. You were wrong from the beginning, and you will be held accountable. Well, I agree with him up until that last part.
Right. Yeah, me too. I wish I shared.
Stay employed.
Yeah, I wish I shared the optimism at the end. Everything else right on. The end, I wish. I wish.
No one is going to, just like the Iraq War. No one paid a price. You know the people who paid the price for the Iraq War? The people who got it right and said the government was lying. The people who got it right got fired. Jesse Ventura and Phil Donahue. They got fired for getting the Iraq War right. Now, I've gotten Russiagate right here. I've gotten Venezuela right. We've gotten Syria right. Us. And you know how we did it? Not by reading someone else's reports, but by actually interviewing journalists that are on the independent journalists that are on the ground in Syria, in Venezuela, and me interviewing independent NSA code breakers who told me that this theory that Russia hacked is all garbage, and they proved it. I did that in my garage. Those other stations didn't do that, not because they don't have the resources I have. They did that because they didn't want to. They did that because they weren't interested in the truth. They did that because what they wanted to do was fucking get Donald Trump so bad they were willing to turn off their critical thinking skills and just listen to their lizard brain. And they wrecked America in the process. And we stood up against it. And we got smeared for standing up against it. And we still get smeared. And there will never be a reckoning. No one will ever be held accountable for smearing us. No one will ever be held accountable for pushing a conspiracy theory at the top of their lungs for 2.5 years and still doing it. No, it'll never be a reckoning. But that's why you watch this show. We're outsiders. Why? Because the insiders are full of shit. I don't want the respect of the Washington Post or the New York Times or jagoffs on TV. There's a lot of YouTubers who do. And that's why we're able to get it right. Because I don't want to be in their fucking club. I'm already in a club. It's called stand-up comedy. Let me throw it over to our panel.
I don't want to be in their club either. How about you, Ron?
I'm happy in the comedy club. I have no desire to ever go anywhere else. But,
right?
Well, and I think it goes beyond people in the press, too. I mean, you think of other people, like people that have used this grift to further their political career. Someone like an Adam Schiff, who has just used this to enhance. Yep, they've just used this to enhance their political celebrity. They don't really give a shit about opposing Trump, and they will face no consequences for this. In fact, they still have all the political celebrity that they've been able to amplify.
I wonder.
Well, Adam Schiff evidently came out and said that if he has to, he will also
start another investigation.
Subpoena Mueller if necessary.
By the way, they're starting to turn on Mueller on Twitter. If you've seen that, so the Russiagators are turning on Mueller.
Yeah, they're saying we can't trust intelligence agencies. If only there was a for instance that would have taught you that lesson before.
Aaron Matei doing a victory lap. He says, let's see if any MSNBC host, I'm looking at you, Chris Hayes and Ari Melber, can muster the journalistic integrity to give progressive Russiagate critics even one interview. Last time they did so was Ari interviewing Glenn Greenwald in December of 2016.
Oh, I'd love to see either one of those two have Aaron Matei on. I would love Chris Hayes or Ari Melber to have Aaron Matei on.
They'll have, if someone does it, it'll be Ari Melberg, because no one watches his show. He's on at like 2 p.m. or something, and no one watches it. And so they can point to it and say, hey, look, we did it. Literally no one watches that. I mean, not literally, but figuratively, no one watches that show. I don't know. I'm sure he has a couple of thousand people that watch that show.
It's on in plenty of airports, Jimmy.
That's right. It's on in airports and waiting rooms and dentist waiting rooms, and that's where they get their fucking ratings
That's
from.
right. Where it's imposed on people, they're watching.
If you'd have MSNBC, when you need the news and don't have a choice.
You can't go anywhere else. This is what we give you.
When you're stuck in a waiting room or in an airport, MSNBC. So he's challenging them, and they're not coming on. Hey, guys, it turns out we were all dead on the island the entire time. So the people still pushing that Trump is still a Manchurian candidate of Russia, and they say financial crimes. They say because he's indebted to them because he money laundered, and they got all this stuff on it. He's going to blackmail him. That's what people are still saying today. People who have pushed this for 2.5 years are now saying that what they're really saying is that he's under the thumb of Trump, of Putin, because of financial crimes and blackmailing, right?
Right.
Well, that would mean that there's got to be a quid pro quo, right? So what's the quid pro quo? Well, here's what Chomsky says.
But with a quid pro quo of the Russians helping.
Of what? The quid pro quo is that he's increased military action on the Russian border. He's created a huge military expansion of the military budget aimed at Russia. He's pulled out of the INF Treaty, which is a major threat to Russia. What's the quid pro quo?
So what he's just saying there is, if Trump is a Putin puppet, Where's the evidence? What has he done for Putin? All the evidence points the other way, in fact. In fact, he's pulled out of these treaties. Right now, Trump is trying to kill a gas line pipe between Germany and Russia. He's doing lots of things. He's trying to overthrow Venezuela right now, Trump. Putin doesn't want that to happen. And as he points out, all the evidence is the opposite. That Trump is actually not a puppet of Putin, and he's actually going against his wishes. There's no quid pro quo, and people today are still saying that. And shame on them for saying that. But congratulations to everyone here. Congratulations to our crew. Congratulations to Ron and Steph and everybody, Aaron Matei and Max Blumenthal and Kyle Kalinske and whoever else got this right. It's a small club, short list. And we took a lot of slings and arrows for it, and we still take it. People hate you when you outleft them. We outlefted everybody, and we did it in the right way. And so congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to myself. Congratulations to this show. And thank God I didn't try to get into journalism, but I tried to get into comedy first. Because if I was trying to get in that club, I would be just as shitty as the reporters at the Washington Post and New York Times, MSNBC, and CNN, and half the YouTubers. And we're not. We're doing a much better job, Ron.
Well, I was going to say, and you would get bored.
And I would get bored.
We all would.
I don't understand the point. The fun of being a comedian is you get to stick your thumb in the eye of power all the time in a room full of strangers, and their laughter means that they agree with you. And so that's the beauty of being an outsider. I never want to be in that inside club. And we'll keep showing how horrible journalism in the United States is. And it's because they all work for corporations now. And that's the problem. And their corporations don't want them to tell the truth. So if you're so somebody put it this way, if you're a journalist and you're on a bus and you want to go cover a story, you want to go cover Bernie Sanders, but the guy driving that bus is hired by MSNBC, you ain't going to cover Bernie Sanders because it's going to go wherever that bus driver wants you to go. And that's the world we live in. So, okay. Congrats to the 5 people who got this right. And shame on everyone else. And unfortunately, there will never be a reckoning for this. There will be no price to pay. Just like there was no price to pay for the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, for Libya, for Syria, for Venezuela. There's never a price to pay for lying to your own audience if you're a journalist, if you do it at the behest of the establishment. There's never a price to pay when you lie at the behest of the establishment. Look what's happening. You get in trouble for telling the truth, but never for lying at the at the behest of the establishment. We're announcing our live dates for 2019. We're going to Ventura, California, Hermosa Beach, California, Tempe, Arizona, Austin, Texas, Chicago, Portland, all over the country. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for tickets. If you'd like to support the show, please join our Patreon or premium membership. We give you hours of bonus content every week. And remember, if you think you're subscribed, you might not be. Check to make sure you're subscribed and click the bell so you get a notice every time we drop a clip. Thanks for your support.